William Bradford Bishop Jr., born August 1, 1936, is a former United States Foreign Service officer who has been a fugitive from justice since allegedly killing his wife, mother, and 3 sons in 1976. On April 10, 2014, the FBI placed him on the list of its 10 most wanted fugitives. On June 27, 2018, Bishop, who would have been 81 years old, was removed from the list, making room, the FBI said, for a dangerous fugitive. However, he is still being actively pursued by the FBI. Biography. William Bradford Bishop Jr. was born August 1, 1936, in Pasadena, California, to Lolia and William Bradford Bishop Sr. He attended South Pasadena High School and received a Bachelor of Science degree in History from Yale University and a Master of Arts degree in International Studies from Middlebury College. Alternatively, Bishop has been reported to have a bachelor's degree in American Studies from Yale and a master's degree in Italian from Middlebury College. He also holds a master's degree in African Studies from UCLA. After graduating from Yale in 1959, Bishop married his high school sweetheart Annette Weiss, with whom he had 3 sons. He joined the United States Army and spent 4 years working in counterintelligence. Bishop spoke 5 languages fluently: English, Italian, French, Serbo-Croatian, and Spanish. After leaving the Army, Bishop joined the U.S. State Department and served in the Foreign Service in many postings overseas. This included postings in the Italian cities of Verona, Milan, and Florence, where he did postgraduate work at the University of Florence from 1968 to 1972. He also served in Africa, including posts in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia and Gaborone in Botswana, from 1972 to 1974. Bishop's last posting, which began in 1974, was at State Department headquarters in Washington, D.C., as an assistant chief in the Division of Special Activities and Commercial Treaties. He was living in Bethesda, Maryland, with his wife and 3 sons, as well as his mother, Lolia. Killings. On March 1, 1976, after learning he would not receive a promotion he had sought, Bishop told his secretary he did not feel well and left his office in Foggy Bottom. Police believe he drove to his bank, where he withdrew several $100s, then to Montgomery Mall, where he bought a sledgehammer and gas can. He also filled the gas can in the tank of his 1974 Chevrolet station wagon at an adjacent gas station. From there he drove to a hardware store, where he purchased a shovel and pitchfork. Bishop returned to his home in Bethesda between 7:30 and 8 p.m. Police believe his wife was likely killed first, then his mother as she returned from walking the family dog. Finally, his 3 sons, aged 5, 10, and 14, were killed while they slept in an upstairs bedroom. Bishop allegedly drove the bodies 275 miles, 443 kilometers, in the station wagon to a densely wooded swamp about 5 miles, 8.0 kilometers, south of Columbia, North Carolina, where on March 2, he dug a shallow hole where he piled the bodies and set them ablaze with gasoline. Found with the burned bodies were a gas can, a pitchfork, and a shovel with a label of HDW, which was determined to be from Pox Hardware. Bishop is known to have purchased tennis shoes at a sporting goods store in Jacksonville, North Carolina, later that same day. According to witnesses, he had the family dog with him and was possibly accompanied by a woman described as dark-skinned. On March 10, a neighbor of Bishop's contacted police after not seeing the family for some time. A detective found blood on the Bishop home's front porch and on the floor and walls of the front hall and bedrooms. Dental records were used to confirm that the bodies found in North Carolina were of Bishop's family. On March 18, Bishop's station wagon was found abandoned at an isolated campground in Elk Mount, Tennessee, at the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, a few miles from the Appalachian Trail and about 400 miles, 640 kilometers, from the site where Bishop's family was buried. The car contained dog biscuits, a bloody blanket, a shotgun, an axe and a shaving kit with Bishop's medication. The trunk's spare tire well was full of blood. A witness believed the car had been there since anywhere between March 5th to the 7th. Police theorized that Bishop joined the flow of hikers on the Appalachian Trail and attempted to follow his scent with bloodhounds but without success. The following day, a grand jury indicted Bishop on 5 counts of first-degree murder and other charges. Psychology. Motives and stressors. Bishop's motives have never been fully explained. A 1977 article in the Washington Post reported that there was no evidence of infidelity or financial or job problems. Although Bishop had been passed over for a promotion, there was no history of work-related issues. His being passed over has been described as the first glitch in the storybook tale. It has been reported that Bishop's career had caused some marital tension. He was unhappy at his desk job and interested in another foreign posting, but his wife Annette was reluctant. She had begun to study art at the University of Maryland despite Bishop's desire for her to remain a stay-at-home mom. Most sources agree that the Bishops were experiencing some financial issues, but there has been disagreement as to their severity. The Post reported in 1986 that the issues were mild and familiar to most upwardly mobile families. Johnny Douglas described them as nothing terribly unusual for people in their 30s living in that kind of neighborhood. In 2013, Bethesda magazine reported that the Internal Revenue Service (IRS) had been auditing the family's taxes due to financial troubles. The existence of an audit has not been confirmed by the IRS or the Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI). Profile. The FBI states that Bishop is an avid outdoorsman who enjoys camping and hiking, and reports that he had a pilot's license from when he was stationed in Africa. He also enjoys riding motorcycles and working out every week. Bishop has a history of depression and insomnia, having been afflicted with both conditions and taking oxazepam in the time leading up to the murders. He is fond of dogs. He also enjoys Scotch whiskey, peanuts, and spicy foods. Bishop has a 6-inch vertical scar on his lower back from surgery, a cleft chin and facial mole on his left cheek. He may have had his father's Smith & Wesson M&P .38 special revolver with the serial number C981967 and his Yale class ring with him when he vanished. He is also believed to have taken his diplomatic passport with him, as the family's diplomatic passports were all found at their home, but his was missing. Possible sightings. Bishop had approximately 1 week of advance time before the authorities began looking for him. It has been suggested that he could have traveled on his diplomatic passport. The FBI special agent in charge, Steve Vogt, stated in 2014 that neither Bishop's wallet nor passport have ever been found. It has also been speculated that Bishop may have had intelligence training in the 1960s which may have helped him evade detection in 1976. Since 1976, Bishop has allegedly been cited a number of times in various European countries, including Italy, Belgium, England, Finland, the Netherlands, Germany, Greece, Spain, Sweden, and Switzerland. The 3 most credible sightings noted by the United States Marshals Service are: in July 1978, a Swedish woman, who said she had collaborated with Bishop while on a business trip in Ethiopia, reported she had spotted him twice in a public park in Stockholm during a span of 1 week. She stated she was absolutely certain that the man was Bishop. She did not contact the police at the time because she had not yet realized he was wanted for murder in the U.S. In January 1979, Bishop was reportedly seen by a former U.S. State Department colleague in a restroom in Sorrento, Italy. When the colleague greeted a bearded man eye to eye, asking him, "Hey, you're Brad Bishop, aren't you?" The man responding in a distinctly American accent, "Oh no," and fled. On September 19, 1994, on a Basel train platform, a neighbor who had known Bishop and his family in Bethesda was on vacation and reported that she had seen Bishop from a few feet away. The neighbor described Bishop as well-groomed and said that he was getting into a car. Possible current whereabouts and new information. In 2010, authorities believed Bishop was living in Switzerland, Italy, or elsewhere in Europe, or possibly in California. He may have worked as a teacher or become involved in criminal activities. Authorities revealed in 2010 that before the murders, Bishop had been corresponding with federal prison inmate Albert Kenneth Bankston in United States Penitentiary, Marion, though it is unknown why or how. Bishop evidently had instructed Bankston to send letters to his State Department office address. America's Most Wanted posted the last letter on its website, which Bankston mailed 16 days after the murders without knowing that they had happened or that Bishop was a fugitive unable to receive mail at his office. Bankston died in 1983, before law enforcement discovered his connection to Bishop in 1993. In 2014, the body of an unidentified man resembling Bishop, who had been killed by a car while walking along an Alabama highway in 1981, was exhumed by the FBI. A DNA test indicated the man was not Bishop. In 2011, the FBI used fingerprints to determine that reports that Bishop had died in Hong Kong or France were false. In 2014, authorities stated Bishop was probably living in plain sight in the United States and avoiding discovery by avoiding arrest. Being arrested would enable law enforcement to run his fingerprints and catch him. That same year, at the request of the FBI, forensic artist Karen Taylor created an age progression sculpture to suggest Bishop's projected appearance at about age 77. Using Taylor's sculpture, several alternative images were created by Lisa Shepard to show the addition of facial hair and glasses. In popular culture, after the initial case, the Bishop case was the subject of articles in national publications like Reader's Digest and Time at milestone anniversaries. It was followed on an ad hoc basis by The Washington Post, The Washington Star, and The Washington Times, as well as local Washington, D.C. television stations. The case was featured on television shows such as NBC's Unsolved Mysteries, ABC's Vanished, and Fox's America's Most Wanted. Bishop was profiled on AMW website 33 years to the day since his family's bodies were discovered, with a new age-enhanced bust of him with facial hair. A German TV show, Attenziation XY, Ungelust, also featured the case in its 250th episode on November 6, 1992, to find possible evidence of Bishop living abroad. Ballet dancer Jacques D'Amboise revealed in his 2011 autobiography that, as a teenager, he had lived with the Bishop family for a short time in South Pasadena, California. The situation resulted from Bishop's mother's love of ballet and D'Amboise's engagement near South Pasadena with a traveling ballet troupe. He remembers Bishop as very intelligent, reticent, and intense. They played chess together. D'Amboise remained in regular contact with Bishop's mother via mail and international phone calls throughout the 1960s and 1970s, though they never met during this time period. D'Amboise met Bishop's wife once. It was when the Bishops were newlyweds visiting his parents' house in South Pasadena, before she announced her first pregnancy. In February 1976, when D'Amboise was scheduled to perform at the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, Lolita invited him and his wife Carrie to spend Sunday night, February 29, at the Bishop's home in Bethesda. D'Amboise canceled his appearance at the last minute due to a foot injury, but failed to notify the family. About a week later, he saw a newspaper report of the 5 burning bodies in North Carolina. It occurred to him that Lolita had not contacted him to express concern about his absence. D'Amboise subsequently wondered whether his planned visit on February 29 and March 1 would have prevented the murders or resulted in him and his wife being killed as well. In early April 2014, WRC-TV in Washington, D.C. launched a web page to display multiple investigative reports and extensive information on the Bishop case. This included samples of Bishop's handwriting, fingerprints, dental records, and previously unseen Bishop family videos. On July 27, 2014, The Search for Bishop was a featured story on The Hunt with John Walsh on CNN. The titular host of the program has described Bishop as a sociopathic, cold-blooded narcissistic killer, sick, as well as a horrible coward bully. See also: Crime in Maryland. Robert William Fisher, Arizona man who killed his family in 2001 and remains at large. John List, New Jersey man who killed his family at home in 1971 and remained at large under a new identity for 18 years. List of fugitives from justice who disappeared. References. Citations. Works cited: Douglas, John, Olshaker, Mark, 1999. The Anatomy of Motive. The FBI's legendary Mindhunter explores the key to understanding and catching violent criminals. New York, Scribner. ISBN 0-684-84598-9. OCLC 41017428. External links. Agents, investigators search underground, across the country, and around the world for FBI 10 Most Wanted Fugitive. FBI March 2006. The Washington Post article marking the 30-year anniversary of the Bishop murders. Bradford Bishop's FBI 10 Most Wanted poster. Bethesda Magazine May-June 2013 article on Bishop. NBC Washington special report on Bradford Bishop.